Well, guys, it's only January 26th, and I've officially already marked off one of my goals for 2023. Speaking on a podcast. Now, if you've been following my channel for quite some time, I am a huge fan of real estate investing, and really anything financial. Now, Kevin actually reached out to me and asked me to be on this podcast after he saw a post that I made on ADPI's Facebook page. If you're not familiar with what ADPI is active duty passive income. Now, this particular Facebook post was the fact that I was able to take a VA loan, purchasing my duplex, and ride that all the way up to purchase a $1.5 million cabin in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Now, I've covered this a multitude of times on my channel, and I actually went over it again on the podcast itself, but being able to attend and be on such a large podcast that gets about 10,000 downloads a week, I was ecstatic when he reached out for the opportunity here. With that being said, here are some highlights of the podcast.
Hey, what's going on, ADPI Nation? Another amazing guest for you on the ADPI podcast. That is the Active Duty Passive Income podcast if you're a first-time listener. My name is Kevin Brenner. I am the host of the show, and we bring some amazing military real estate investors, whether they're active duty military, they're veterans, they're military families, even military brats. We bring them on, and we talk about real estate investing, and we talk about how to actually achieve financial freedom, the tactical and practical, the no BS way to do it. And today's guest is no different. Today's guest is super successful on the real estate sales side, on the real estate investing side, and all around great dude who is an active duty passive income member in the community, constantly contributing, constantly inspiring, constantly motivating. I'm proud to welcome Casey McKeown to the show. Welcome, brother. What's up?
Hey, appreciate it.
So, Casey, I understand you're a Marine Corps veteran. We're here really to talk about real estate investing. But let's start, Casey. Hit me with your military background, man. Tell me your military story.
Honestly, military was never even something that I was going to consider. Going through school in general, my mom was an educator. Went to college. My dad didn't. They enforced college essentially as soon as I understood what college was. So I just assumed, just like everyone else did, that you really grew up alongside was college. I decided to stick around for a relationship and didn't pan out. So military was the quickest and the easiest option. So at 19 I joined the Marine Corps, and just back then it was you sign up in 2 weeks you get shipped off. But I always kind of had more of an intellectual and analytical side, to where my focus was math. I wanted to go into the Marine Corps to be able to get out of the Marine Corps, to get my school paid for, but still have some kind of experience in the Marine Corps that would apply to the real world. So I went in as a supply and accounting, MOS 6672, aviation supply and accounting. And I think I lasted 3 months in the accounting office. So thankfully the Marine Corps also saved me a bunch of college money too, because otherwise I would have probably got a degree in accounting and hated it. So, there's always a bright side to everything. Then got out at the age of 23, did the whole college thing, and realized, the 9-to-5 job was not going to be suitable, hopefully, for forever. And my 2 years of career was teaching high school. The likelihood of you understanding and knowing what you want at the age of 16, 17, 18 and actually pursuing that, for the rest of your life is so incredibly unlikely. So, me actually joining the Marine Corps, not intentionally, just kind of on a whim, saved me, because like I said, I would have, who knows if I'd be sitting down at an accounting, firm right now, just miserable. Because there was a huge mind shift change. I've been talking about mindset a lot. We all have the same 24 hours, and a lot of people may be listening to this too that, are maybe where I was, 5.5 years ago when I was 27, back in 2016, 2017, kind of when I first got into real estate, where they're not understanding necessarily which direction to go or what to do. I was working a full-time job and coaching, and then did real estate on the side to basically work, the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed. But I knew long-term, by me doing that, I was going to get somewhere much further in life than I was just, working the 9-to-5, getting up every single day.
When I interviewed Ryan Serhant on this exact podcast, he told me he was doing, I forget, he was doing some terrible performances in the park and stuff like that, and not getting paid, the whole thing. And he's like, when I dedicated myself to real estate, I did not take a break. I
Mm-hmm.
worked 7 days a week for 3 years to get to where I am, to pretty much build the foundation to get to where he is now with Sirhan Media and the whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
that level of dedication is it sounds insane to a lot of people, especially a lot of people in the military. They work in government jobs. They're like, whoa, wait, I don't get my 4-day weekend and all this stuff. Y'all, if you want to put the work in, put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cool thing is when you're actually fulfilled from a job, it doesn't feel like work.
This morning, my body just wakes up because I'm in such a routine every single day. Excited to start the day, excited to see what today is going to entail. Get up, get moving, get to the gym, get my morning routine that I have done really the last 4 years, and has been a big reason why I've been able to be as disciplined as I have. It's just consistency, and having the right mindset of waking up, loving what I do. And I tell people the way that led me to real estate is kind of a funny story. It was on Facebook where a friend from high school actually had basically showed up on my Facebook feed that he was attending an event, how to make $50,000 in a month. Well, I'm like, this is probably the biggest scam in the world. I need to let him know, because I'm a big honcho guy with a master's degree and I'm making $52,000 a year. So this is definitely a scam. He was the one that was actually teaching the class. And then it switched to like, okay, you're hosting this. What the heck's going on? And then he mentioned real estate, mentioned a bunch of books to me, mentioned, what a lot of folks here may know as BiggerPockets, mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's when the snowball happened. It was book after book. It was podcast after podcast. It was, any kind of meetup, 9 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever I could do to indulge myself with as much real estate content as I could, I was doing.
Yeah, and it's funny how one little event in your network, like one little thing, that spark, we call it. What is that spark? The number one question we get from folks, especially typically the newbie investors, is, hey, I've been following your page for a while, or hey, active passive income, you guys are cool, I'm still in the military. I want to invest, I want to get started investing, so don't I have to get my real estate license first? Now, from my perspective, I am not a licensed realtor. I'm an investor first. So for me, I bring on agents, investor-friendly agents to my team, and they, like they're team members.
Yeah.
From your perspective, because you went the other way, you first became a real estate agent, and then you transitioned to sales. So where do you see, like, what are the pros and cons of each? And if someone's listening to this podcast right now and they're considering, like, I should get my real estate license or I shouldn't, what would you tell them from an investor mindset?
It's not going to educate you on, how to house hack. It's not going to educate you on how to flip. It's not going to educate you on any of the investing realm, I guess you could say, of real estate. But what it will do is it will help you, once you get that knowledge, to be able to take basically a little bit of that money and put it back in your pocket. Also, me, myself, when I do invest, I represent myself. So I'm able to recoup some of the more than likely commission that's going to be paid to what would be typically a buyer's agent, in that case if they're buying a house. I'm able to recoup that myself. Now, that's not to say, hey, go get your real estate license, you pass your class today, and now you can represent yourself for, a large investment purchase tomorrow. There's still a lot of education that you need to do from an investing standpoint to know really what you're getting yourself into.
For folks listening to this, Casey, who really want to do both, it's 2023, I'm a new realtor, like, what kind of advice would you give them from that perspective?
If you're stuck at a 9 to 5 and you can't really utilize your personal phone at all, it's going to be tough because you're going to have, especially as business grows, you're going to have people that reach out that need a pretty quick response. If you've got a flexible job, great opportunity to get your license, kind of build your real estate sales side up, or even just get your real estate license and solely use it for the intent to invest, but still work your full-time job. A lot of folks that I speak to, they get this high and huge ambitious drive where they think that they're going to leave their six-figure job and pursue real estate full-time. And to give you some clarity, I didn't make $1 for the first 5 months I was licensed. Most people probably can't go 5 months without getting paid. So I kept my job until I felt I was comfortable, and then made the transition out.
if you have that flexibility, you can make something work. It's all about your level of drive and how bad do you want it. You know, I planned my transition for 3 years, and I implemented it slowly.
Got licensed the first week in Dallas, and I didn't know anyone. I'm not from Texas. I'm from Washington State originally. Military kind of took me all over, and then I got to Texas eventually. But I don't have a sphere here. I didn't get, I wasn't raised here, so I don't know anyone. So, it was really from day one building this from the ground up. And I was thinking 3 to 5 years, and I gave my notice, I think at month 8 of living in Dallas to basically finish off that year of teaching and pursue it full time at that point.
So let's talk what you've built from a real estate sales side. So you're still in Dallas, and you started, getting traction. And what year was this when you left your coaching job?
So I moved to Dallas summer 2017, bought a duplex within the first 60 days. So $285 purchase price, had, a small amount of disability at the time, so funding fee was waived. So I got in the door for a couple $1,000s, and I moved in immediately downstairs, and I rented out the 2 bedrooms upstairs for $600 a piece. So we had $1,200 on my side, and I, not including, whatever I hypothetically would have paid for rent. And then the other side was initially renting for $1,400. So $2,600 total on rent, and I think my initial mortgage before taxes kind of started to raise was like $1,680. And again, so I'm, closing in on over $900 above my mortgage, and I'm living in the downstairs master suite. So I sold in 2022, about May timeframe. I actually got $630,000 for it. 285 purchase, and I sold it for $630.
Guys, this is a business. Run it like a business. You bought it low and you sold it high, and that's the most important, because you don't make your money when you sell the property. You make it when you buy. You make it when you smartly buy up front, and you're on the path to progress, and that you're going to cash flow along the way, but your big check comes at the end. So you converted that $285,000, and maybe it sounds like at the end of 5.5 years, you might have invested 25, 30K into a remodel. Maybe let's call it 50K, whatever. Yeah. You're in this for three and a quarter, 330, sound fair? Yep. And you sold it for what? 625?
630. Yeah.
630. So you walked away with a cool $300,000. Representing yourself, saving money on commissions there. Now, the next question, what did you do with it? Did you do a little 1031?
Yes, 1031 exchange. I got approved for a luxury cabin up in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. I think they're doing the stonework on the fireplace right now. So for a property that I purchased, put a couple $1,000s in, is now set to be complete, like I said, in 4 or 5 months, valued at about 1.5. And my payoff is like 7. I think my loan value on it is about $775.
That's great.
So we're talking about
50% equity in that.
Yeah. So it's going to be awesome. Renting out. It's going to be again another expense for me to furnish it as a short-term rental up there, but it will be renting for I'm going from an older 1980s duplex renting for, I think at the end I was renting $1,600 to $1,800 a month. To a Broken Bow cabin that will rent for $500 to $1,200 a night.
The numbers are awesome in short-term rentals. Even this morning, actually, I was going through my own portfolio, and I went and I adjusted the fees. I found out, hey, my cleaning fee is 20% less than everyone else. And
more money there.
My pet fee is 10% less. So I went and I kind of pulled some levers and made some adjustments. And that's something I really, truly love. And Casey, you know this already, but I love about short-term rentals. There's so many different levers to pull from a business perspective. Long-term rental, the rent's the rent, man. You're signed up for a 12-month lease, and you get great stability out of that. You know what's going to happen. But if you're willing to take a little bit more risk and be a little bit more hands-on on a short-term rental, you could pull a lot more levers, and you can really make something happen. So what's next for 2023 for you?
Just for me, there's a lot changing in my personal life, behind the scenes, I guess you could say. But over the last 5.5 years, I've accrued not just that cabin, but over $5 million in real estate.
What book or software has really been crushing it for you lately?
When I first picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was the first book. Being an analytical guy, just a numbers guy, I didn't like reading, but it was the first book that I had read in almost a decade at that point. And I think I read 10 to 15 books within the first 6 months of being licensed.
Who is your biggest hero and why?
So I would say my high school wrestling coach, rest in peace, Coach Bodner. Marine, true and true. He basically he was also my weight training coach, 0 hour every single day for all 4 years while I was in high school. Really instilled that discipline in me to get up, to get moving. Wrestling practices were not easy, and they pushed you to the limit, and even further. We had to have people quit because we didn't have a large enough wrestling room to really have all the folks that turned out stick with it. So, he pushed me to my limit and then showed me that wasn't my limit and showed me that I could push harder. And that's really stayed true with me, throughout the Marine Corps, throughout building my own business. I've had a lot of ups and downs, just keep pushing forward.
If you had to boil down what you've learned in the last, how many years, 5.5, 6, 7 years, and you had to offer 3 nuggets to someone listening to this podcast right now if they're trying to get started in real estate, whether they're trying to be a real estate agent or they're trying to just get started and leverage that VA loan like you did. What are some of these nuggets, dude?
So let's use a Nike slogan and just do it because that I think is the biggest hurdle for most people, I guess you could say. These are all long-term investments. Most real estate transactions are going to be long-term investments. The issue is people, I know people 5.5 years ago that didn't purchase anything, and I was in the same boat. I had just purchased a duplex, $285,000. I've snowballed that into $5 million. Second of all, morning routine, I kind of hit it a little bit. Just consistency. I don't think you look at anyone that's, a professional athlete or anyone that's really in the news at all that is great at what they do it consistently. So in terms of, if you're wanting to be an investor, if you're wanting to get your real estate license, whatever you do, you need to do it well. And in order to do it well, you need to do it consistently. Third is going to be relationships. I would say that's been the biggest asset in my business, surrounding myself with the best friend that I mentioned earlier that's kind of always 1 step or 10 steps in front of me, allowing him to educate me in as many realms of real estate as possible. But also, I see that now where people are reaching out to me and wanting me to kind of be in their, circle to, because I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I have, failed and had plenty of successes that they can learn from. It's one thing to pick up a book and read a book and educate yourself or watch a podcast, maybe, this particular podcast for example. But
everyone watch this.
Yeah. But meeting someone personally face to face, when it comes to that best friend, if he just slept in every single day and I never saw him at the office and he never texted me back and didn't ever help me, he wouldn't be, where he is today. And I certainly wouldn't be where I am today. That relationship really pushed both of us, to get to where we are today.
At the end of the day, your network is your net worth and you're the average of the 5 people around you. A good mentor of mine once told me that networking is simply a conversation with a purpose. That's all it is. It's a conversation with a purpose. Have your elevator pitch. Even if you're not even selling anything, you're selling yourself all the time. Have that pitch nailed down, and you'll be put in the right places, and that's really how it goes. Dude, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. For folks who want to get in touch with you, that maybe they're in Dallas, maybe they want to take you out for coffee, get some lunch or something like that, or just link up. How can they do that? Yeah, so I've got a Instagram. It's just my name, last name, so kc.mckeown, McKeown. And I think if you just
really, if you just search that on YouTube too, Casey McKeown, maybe type in real estate alongside it. I have a whole YouTube channel where I do as much education as I can regarding investing in real estate, regarding credit card hacking and using mileage points to fly for free, anything personal finance. I show it all on my YouTube channel as much as I can, and those would be the two biggest platforms to reach out to me, to connect with me and follow my journey.
That is incredible. So you heard it here first. Follow Casey. He is absolutely incredible. Dude, I had so much fun. We're definitely going to have you on for round 2. We're going to dig in more maybe to the real estate agent side of things, and unpack that, because there's so much more out there. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for your time.
Of course. Thank you. Well, there's that, guys. January 26th, and I've already accomplished one of my goals for 2023. I'm obviously hoping to be on a handful more podcasts this year, but make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see which one of those podcasts I'll be on. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help, and stay tuned for the next video.